Hello, everyone. Welcome to NJ Thrive's Small Business Webinars. I hope you're all doing well today. Thank you for joining us. You are attending, today is Thursday, December 14th, and you are attending our weekly webinar created to help New Jersey small business owners start, grow, and thrive. If you have been joining us for these weekly webinars for some time now, we appreciate you being here. We appreciate your support. If you are new here, welcome. Thankful that you're here, and we hope that you will continue to attend these webinars as they are a great resource for small business owners. All right, so I am your host, Uzma Sheikh, and I am a consultant here at America's New Jersey Small Business Development Centers Network. That's a mouthful, but that's why acronyms exist, and that's what NJSBDC stands for. And what this network is about is it's a statewide program powered by the SBA, Small Business Administration, and partners like the NJBAC New Jersey Business Action Center to help small businesses in New Jersey with three key things. Those key things are no-cost small business consulting, training and events starting at $0, just like this one that you're attending. It's a free webinar, and exclusive small business resources. So that's what NJSBDC is. And while it is a statewide program here in New Jersey, it is also a nationwide program. So if you are joining us from somewhere other than New Jersey, maybe let's say California, Texas, Florida, you can just, Google SBDC if you're looking for small business counseling, and it will be available in one of the states. Also, if you are wondering what the map on the right is, that is the state of New Jersey, of course, in all the counties. And where you see these small SBDC logos are where our regional centers are. So while our counseling have shifted to, since the pandemic, have shifted to virtual counseling and virtual events and webinars and things like that, if you'd still like to attend in person, then you can visit one of our regional centers. And you can find all the information at njsbdc.com. Okay, so while I go through the agenda and while I go through some of the headlines, please feel free to share where you're from and who you are, what you do, what your small business is about. If you'd like to share any socials or contact information, pretty much, just network in the chat, basically. We can do it in person, but you can definitely take advantage of it in the chat. Okay, so the headlines are basically some of the events or things that are happening in the state of New Jersey relevant to the small business community, just updates that we like to share. This is from NJBIA, Business and Industry Association. Nonprofits can apply for Horizon Foundation Healthy Communities grants. This was shared last week on December 7th, a week ago. Small startup or newly established health-focused nonprofits, keywords, are encouraged to apply for the communities grants. It is a one-time special grant program. In recognition of the foundation, will award 20 grants of $5,000 each for general operating support, or to assist the organizations as they build their capacity and scale programs. The application period opens Friday, December 15th, that's tomorrow, and closes on March 1st, 2024. So that's in 3 months. All right, if you would like to access the online application, then you can visit it here. The three links, the three articles or press releases, whatever I'll be showing right now on the screen, the links will be shared in the chat. So you can click on those links at your own time and look at the application. Okay, this one is from business.nj.gov, Access Capital for Clean Energy Projects. This was last updated on December 11th. It is asking that if you have responses property owners, nonprofit organizations, other eligible agencies, entities interested in supporting the state's clean energy transition can respond to an RFEI, request for expressions of interest. And you can find the NJGF, that's the New Jersey Green Fund, I believe. And yep, clean energy. So responses are due by January 12th, 2024, just in a couple of weeks. All right, and third and last is grow your workforce with STEM loan redemption, also from business.nj.gov. Enhance your recruiting and retention of highly skilled employees with STEM loan redemption. The Higher Education Student Assistance Authority, HESA, will help qualifying employees pay off student loans by matching your company's contribution of $1,000 per year for up to 4 years. Eligible professionals can receive up to a total of $8,000 towards their student loans. So, what programs to apply to if that is relevant to you. And again, all the links are being shared in the chat. All right, what's next? We have our presentation and then we'll have Q&A. Right before these are the links that were shared, right before we go into the presentation with our speaker, just a couple of housekeeping rules to keep in mind. If you have any questions, just like the chat box that I see many responses are coming into, there is another box for Q&A. We will have a Q&A session after the presenter is done with their slides. So we would appreciate that you keep your questions in that Q&A box so we can address them at the end. Second rule is that we will ask you to complete a 3-minute, well, this is if you'd like. We're not asking you, it's not required. It's a 3-minute survey if you'd like the webinar resources. What's in the resource? It's really the slides that our presenter will be presenting with. And if you'd like to receive those in the PDF format, all you have to do is complete a brief survey. As soon as you complete the Google Forms, you will get the link on the submission site. And just a reminder as well, this webinar is being recorded. So if you have to leave midway or you cannot attend the Q&A session for whatever reason, you can watch it after. It will be available on our YouTube channel and also our website. Those links will also be shared in the chat. All right. So we have one of our specialty consultants, Jinni Rock-Bailey, who is here for navigating procurement success, tips for successful submissions. So thank you, Jinni, for doing this for us again. Jinni has been great we've been doing many webinars with her, and we've done many webinars on procurement, also HR. And if you'd like to see those webinars, then you can definitely check out our video library, and all of Jinni's webinars are available there. All right, I'll stop sharing. Welcome, Jinni.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And welcome to all the participants. Before I start my presentation, I just wanted to go over a few things with you. This presentation is for everyone. It's not mandatory that you live in New Jersey, Washington, D.C. This information is relevant for everyone who is interested in upgrading their game to procurement. So the information that I will be providing to you will allow you to make that necessary step. I'm so passionate about this subject because I know how it can change the trajectory of your business. So I thank you so much for NJSBDC for allowing me to share my passion. And without further ado, I am going to stop my video, share the screen. Just want to make sure that you can see it.
Jinni, if we can have your video on for the purposes of the recording. I can see the slides, by the way.
Okay, great. So let me just put it into slideshow. Okay, excellent. Start my video. So today's topic is navigating procurement opportunity, tips for successful submission. And I will be focusing on, let me see the best way to do this, on 3 particular topics: request for information, and the acronym is RFI, request for proposal, and request for quotes. These are the most popular, if most not revenue generating opportunities that you will have in this space. One of the things that I wanted to do, before I started is to let you know that I will be interchanging verbiage in the video when it pertains to those individuals or those in organizations or businesses that one would be requesting one of these opportunities from. Initially, I was just going to focus on identifying a government agency or a business or a vendor. But I think it's important as we go through the presentation that there are a variety of names and positions that are attached to people who are responsible for giving you this type of information. So I didn't want to leave anything out. I didn't want you to be in a position where you saw a title such as a business or organization or agency and did not think that it pertained to you and what you wanted to do. So I'm leaving those titles in. And if there's any questions at all, we can, you can ask me a question at the end and I'll go through why I've done it. Okay, so procurement is the process of purchasing goods or services, usually called business spending. There are different types of procurement and different ways to respond. The process is not a one-size-fits-all, and each process has its own procedure for submitting a response. And I think this is important because you think that if you're requesting an RFI or an RFQ, that there would be the same information would be requested of all, but that's not how this works. Each agency, each request has their own set of standards that you're asked to provide. So I think that's important for you to know. And the objective is to demonstrate how your company can meet client, customer, agency requirements and persuade that individual client, because I'll use that because they would all be your client. It's your opportunity to persuade them to choose you. It's also called bidding, tendering, or proposals. So I'm not going to go back over each individual one. I just want you to know that as it appears, we're talking about a title is describing an opportunity for you to use or you to participate in. So we look at what is responding for. I really want to get rid of I'm going to put that aside. Responding for procurement involves different activities. It involves planning and identifying. And so what do we mean by that? Planning and identifying. Hold up 1 minute. So I want to make sure I have a lot of information to give in a short period of time. What we mean by that is it involves different activities such as planning and identifying, which are the needs and requirements of the goods, services, or work. Researching and selecting is the potential suppliers or contractors that can provide the goods, services, or works. Negotiating and finalizing the price is quality, quantity, delivery, and payment terms and chosen supplier or contractor. Issuing and managing requires the purchase orders, contracts, invoices, and payments. Receiving and inspecting, it deals with the goods and services or works and ensuring they meet the specifications and expectations. Why I think it's important to give you this information and the definitions, it's because so often we're not ready to provide it because our businesses haven't put us in a position where we have to provide this amount of information. But in order to really compete, you have to make sure that your financial papers, your financial documents are in order. You have to make sure that you will be able to deliver as required in the specifications. So the topic of this one is going to be how to respond to an RFP. The request are general information from potential vendors about their offerings and capabilities. It's a preliminary step before using the RFP. It helps the organization narrow down the list of potentials. Request for information is exactly what it sounds like. It is allowing the organization or client to request information from you that will allow them to make a decision whether you could be a potential vendor for them. It's used in the early stage or with broad scope of interest. Now, it does not have to, you don't have to think about getting an RFI before you do an RFP. You could certainly do an RFP first, but I recommend my clients that given the opportunity to respond to the RFP, you would want to do it so that they know you exist. Give them that information. It educates the buyer about your capabilities, experience, pricing, and products. And it's an introduction and a list of specific questions that they're looking for, which is very important because knowing this information allows you to put your information together. How do you respond to an RFP? Well, it asks you to really create a customized package that includes an introduction. What does that introduction consist of? It consists of information about your company. It consists of your goals. It consists of why it's important for you to participate in this opportunity. It's information about your company and not your opportunity to opine about why you started it, but it's our opportunity to state why you think you're the most important and the most qualified business that they should select. And it also includes a cover letter. What's in that cover letter? The letter consists of what's your track record? What's your pricing standards? What's your stability of the organization? It asks you to also include your organization's infrastructure and your scale. The organization infrastructure obviously would be corporation, it would be an LLC, and how you work within that infrastructure. The scale is indicate your capacity and availability to handle the project, scope, timeline, and the quality of your work. This is really your opportunity to shine without any of the pressures of, oh my goodness, am I shining because I'm applying for a proposal, requesting a proposal? No, it's giving the agency, client, organization, or business the opportunity to see how you can fit into what they're looking for. And as an HR guru, I love HR. I'm really interested in the fact that it's also looking at your talent acquisition. It's looking at your internal operation, what your employees look like, how you hire, how you deal with employee issues. This is your opportunity to really talk about your business, which is so important, which is so important. So go on to the next one. And again, you're creating your customized package. And you can use this in many opportunities, in many ways, right? So then you look at tips on how to write this. And those tips are to be clear and concise, provide relevant information and examples. You always want to thank the customer for their interest and the invitation to contact you for more information if necessary. You want to remember that your information may not be treated confidential. It's the goal is to ensure that the proposal is easy to read, well constructed, and visually appealing. That's your goal. That's what you want to do, right? how to respond to it, how to respond to an RFP. You want to be clear and concise, and this is across the board. You want to make sure that you review and edit the proposal. What does that look like? It looks like you take advantage of your apps like Grammarly, edit, and make sure that it is print ready. You want to make sure that you can take this proposal and give it to anyone because it is a reflection of the way you do your business. And I also think that it's interesting to note again that it is not the opportunity for you to give your trade secrets because it's not one of those situations. It's not one of those situations where you will, where no one else will see it. It's not one of those situations like that. You can ask for feedback and you can confirm receipt and thank the client again for the opportunity because this is really the first stage. So if we go on to the next section of what is an RFP, in my mind, I thought it would be interesting to provide you with what the RFP is and compare it to what an RFQ is. So when you think about an RFP, you automatically can think about how it's different or how it complements the RFQ. The RFQ, if you're so inclined to respond to that, is an opportunity that they're looking for you to give them a quote. Because they have an idea, I say it's an idea, where they're interested in buying a product and they want to know who's out there. What would the quote be for the product? And it gives them an idea of what kind of vendors are available that would provide this information. So that's what the RFQ is looking for. And an RFP, it's sent from the client because they're looking for more information about products and services. What kind of services are out there that relate to some services that we're willing to buy, that we're looking to purchase. So it's very succinct. The RFQ mainly answers the questions about what the price could be if we were to let this proposal and who's available. The RFP gives more detail about the information necessary to make the decision to consider you as a business. Again, it seeks prices and the RFP seeks solicitations for proposals. Obviously, but not always understood, the RFQ is much easier to respond to, and you get a faster response. So I always tell my clients, if you're interested in doing business with a particular vendor, organization, or business, you want to be in the position that you're seen, that you are seen. So you want to make sure that you reply quickly. And I'm going to go into detail about that because it is so important. Some people think, oh, I'll wait till the deadline. You know, I've got some time. Number one, that's a bad idea because so often when you put yourself in that mind frame, you lose because you forget to send it in. Why? Because you have so many things going on in your life. But what I found is key in this arena is that when you submit your proposals before the deadline, when you submit your RFQs before the deadline, your request for information before the deadline, you're given consideration because they're waiting for it. They're actually waiting for this information so they can take the next step. So then how do you respond to a request for a proposal? You ensure that the opportunity is right for the company. And this allows me to speak on some of the other webinars that we've had. And those webinars in regards to procurement, those webinars addressed you being ready for the RFP. And we'll go in a little bit more detail about that. You have to be ready for the RFP. You've got to understand the requirements for it. And in that vein, So often I tell my clients, break it up. Have somebody else review this with you as well. Because if you don't give them exactly what they want, you're not going to be able to compete. Once they see that you deviate away from the request, you don't become a successful bidder. And that's in this game. That's in this whole request for proposal, quote, information. That's in this game. They're telling you what they want, and they want you to give it to them the exact way that they're asking you to give it. So often, even if you're a single member LLC, you want somebody else to look at this document with you, like in all the other areas that you're involved in. Whether you're bidding on proposals or whether you're completing your certifications, you want somebody else to look at it to make sure that you, as the owner, don't miss anything. Download all the instructions and read. I left when I was putting this together. Read and reread, because on the second reading, you may see something that you didn't see in the other reading. So you want to pay close attention for what we consider to be and what they have to the scope of work. It is the blueprint for how you're supposed to respond. So you want to be ready for that. You want to look at it. You want to make sure that you, in your mind, and they also will come with a checklist, that you have a checklist of what the scope of work is. What are they asking me to do? And what's also so important is that you attend the pre-bid conference, because they all have a pre-bid conference. You want to make sure that you attend or a representative attends, whether it's online or in person. There are many reasons why, but my important reasons is because you want to see who else is there. You want to see, because they're your competition. You also want to be in the position that when you attend, this is the kind of pre-bid conference that will allow you to ask questions about what's in the scope of work. How are we measured? What kind of score should we look for if we think we're not going to be able to meet the expectations? What happens? If we're not the successful bidder, what happens? Can we ask you why? Ask clarifying questions. You want to be ready for the pre-bid conference. And clarifying questions are those that will allow you to answer what the question is. Don't try and stump them, because they're way ahead of you. You want to ask questions that are relevant to what's going to allow you to be the success in this opportunity. Meet with your team and assign roles and responsibilities. I'm all about teamwork. And if it's not your team, have someone who understands what you're going through as a business owner, who understands what you've sacrificed. Have that individual go over and look at this opportunity for you. Who knows? You may be able to hire them. So have them look at it. Read and analyze thoroughly. So when you look at all of this, the overarching question for most businesses questions are we really ready for this? Will our business be able to be sustainable if we get this? Have we thought about this thoroughly? Because we might get this. Our prayers might be answered. So this also gives you the opportunity to look at where you are, who you have in place to assist you. You're given this opportunity because there's, as grateful as you may be to get it, there are demands that sometimes the business can't respond to. Again, you review questions carefully, you're clear and concise, you provide specific examples of how your product or service would benefit the customer. So instead of, or in lieu of, opining about how we started and the struggle and what I have to sacrifice, you opine on all of that in regards to the product or service that you're offering. Why you think your product will satisfy their need, your service will satisfy their need. Again, reply promptly, and you depend on what that is, as long as it's not past the deadline. Know which of your competitors are responding, and there's loads of ways to do that. As a matter of fact, I have some offerings in terms of how to do the search. You should know who your competitors are anyway. So you want to make sure that you're in the position to know who's going to apply. And being a part of the pre-bid conference, you invariably might see them there. It may be your opportunity, if you don't get this, to partner with them, with the organization or business that does. So you will look bigger. There are a variety of reasons why you should always know who your competitors are, but especially in this case, because you know what you're against. You know what you're up against. So some additional tips on effective RFP responses. Again, and it may seem redundant, but I've seen too many responses, draft responses, where they did not follow the format and instructions as provided. So you can imagine when you don't, what the business or agency is thinking, like why we gave it to them, why didn't we follow that? You also want to make sure that you include an executive summary, which you should already have in place, that speaks to your organization, the management of your organization, and why you're so successful at what you do. Your cover letter should be formal and include an introduction. And when I mean formal, it's dear someone. It's we have the opportunity to apply to submit an RFP for this opportunity that can change our business. You know, that's a formal letter. But what's really important is that it does not include any grammatical or type spelling errors. Your spacing is correct as it can be. You want to provide a detailed description of what's being proposed. And in that description, you're the solutions person. They have a problem, you have not a problem. They have an opportunity, you have the solution to solve it. This is the methodology in which you can do it. And this is our timeline where we've done it before and why we were successful. You want to be in a position where you showcase your relevant experience and qualifications. I hope this information is helping you. I really do, because I really understand some of the challenges that we face as a small business owner myself. And I understand when you have these opportunities, how you have to put everything in it before we get into RFQ, because I want to opine for a minute. Because it's not that you can't submit an RFQ or an RFP. We'll stick with the RFPs. It's not like you can't submit another RFP for another opportunity, but you want to make sure that if you're not the successful bidder for this, if you're not the successful company or vendor that's selected, that you know why and why you can't or should not make the same mistakes. So that if that means providing information to, if that means asking for an opportunity to discuss how you can improve, not why you didn't get it, take the upper level on this, you should do that. You should include as much information as you can in this RFP that meets the instructions and the format and what they're asking you to do so you can compete. And you submit as many times as you feel necessary, because invariably, if you don't get this one, you'll be a better business owner. You'll run your business better and seek opportunities in a variety of ways to increase your revenue. I've seen it. So then we look at what is a request for a quote. And for me, this is like the downside of not being in person, because I want to see hands raised. I want to see people active on why, why it is so important or not important for them to submit a quote. It's requested by the buyer who knows what they need to purchase and only needs more information about the price. That's the only reason why they're giving it. And this is also an excellent opportunity for me to share with you that if you see an RFQ that you want to do and you don't see an RFP that is of interest to you, submit the request for a quotation. Because you always want to make sure that you're in a position where who has what you want knows that you exist. And this is one of the best ways to do it. You submit a quote and you know that your quote will allow you to be competitive. You define your company's capabilities and qualifications, and throughout this whole process, or throughout our whole series of webinars, I have shared with everyone that a capability statement ready to give to someone who has what you want is absolutely necessary. It is your business resume. It is a document that will allow the recipient of it to mentally put you on another level, because they're so used to getting business cards, which just tell who you are. It doesn't even tell now where your office is. It's who you are and what your email address is. Where your capabilities and qualifications allow the company now to identify not only who you are, but in so many instances, the values of your company, because it's included in a capability statement. It demonstrates the values of your solution by providing price quotes and specifications. And in that value that you're offering, it also gives them an insight in how you price for your business in general. If you're way out of line, then of course you need some help. If you haven't done your due diligence to see what the prices are for what they're asking, then they see that in your quote. You explain how your company would benefit from the customer's project or a contract. Now, this is a little area where you can opine. And I've seen a variety of different statements from how it will allow you to definitely increase your revenue. It will allow you to increase the kinds of services that you offer. But I've seen in these statements where it will allow you to be a better business in my community. It will allow you to hire more people from my community. I mean, this is the opportunity for you to speak about where your values are as well, and the values of your company. Now, describing your company's pricing structure is something that you should tweak for this RFQ, because you already have it. You should have a pricing structure for your business. So for many businesses, going through these processes for an RFQ or an RFP they had this information for the ready. They've compartmentalized the scope of work, what's being asked for in files that are easy reach for them. And that's where you want to be. So it eliminates the time it takes to complete a number of RFPs. You know, it's like have all your certifications in one file, have your scope of work, have a blueprint of a scope of work in file. So you can just not, I'm saying not a template because they're not all the same, but you can have the idea of what a scope of work should include. Okay, and it's very important if you have these documents ready. For what's your goal for an RFQ? Your goal is to demonstrate the value of your solution by providing price quotes and specifications. It's to prove your commitment. I always like think like a negotiator. I mean, I think that's so cool, but you want to be in a position where instead of just providing the lowest price from the start, you can submit a quote with a sacrifice points to win. And they'll walk away feeling triumphant that they negotiated a lower price than the original quote. You want to be in that position. I mean, the commitment is dealing with reviewing your delivery schedule, reviewing your budget, and the requirements that are asked for you. But to think like a negotiator, sometimes we don't give ourselves that opportunity because we're so busy trying to maintain our businesses. But this is the time where you create that moment or those moments where you really think like the owner of your organization, where you can think bigger, where you don't always have to think that you're going to come in on the lowest end. You can submit a quote that's within 10% of higher gross margin to allow for some negotiation. Because remember, it's a quote. It's a quote. You can get the inside scoop on like why the company is issuing this RFQ. And I think I'm not one that tells stories, but I know that so often people who are in the space of making decisions and looking for companies that they could consider when they have the opportunity, these people are also the same ones who you will find speaking at local events in your town or in your county to talk about what they do. So what's so cool about that is you get to meet them. You get to ask them questions. And you also may get to find out why they're issuing that quote if that person is like on a speaking tour, which they do. They get outside of their office. And when I'm in the position of being in that space with someone, their answer is, well, we're people too. Well, yeah, they are. This is just their job. So you want to get the scoop on why they're issuing the RFQ. Is it to discover pricing before they're even ready to buy? Or perhaps just justify their budget with another vendor? It's important to try and build a relationship with a client before putting all of your cards on the table. And this is also relevant to why you don't give your special sauce out. Don't give the ingredients to your special sauce when you're responding to these things, because they're not the only ones who say it. It's not always confidential. So when I hear them say that, I say then it's not confidential. So keep some things to yourself. some things about the business, especially those special ingredients that what makes you really different. You can say what makes you different because of your success, but what really makes you different. You can save that. But you wanna make sure that they too know that you're serious about participating in this effort. And that's what you want to do. So what I think, because I also want to give you some time to ask some questions, and I see that there are some here. What I really want to do is just, basically summarize and let you know that when you do your due diligence in providing the information to the person or organization, business, agency, or company that is seeking to do business with you, so you personalize it. You must review all the information before you submit it. You must ensure your company can provide the services or products that are requested. And this one is submit the info that is relevant to your business at time of submission. Don't submit it based on your projections of how your company is going to be a year from now. Submit real relevant information. Know your competition. It's very important for you to know your competition. But I also think that when you decide to play in this sandbox, so to speak, you also have to think about how not only the preparation of participating in an RFP, that's an RFP, because that's really what you're looking for. The RFQ and the RFI will allow them to know you're there, and when or if I get something, or I'm thinking about someone, you submitted your quote or information on time. It's when you submit that RFP, you know you need this. And you also have to think about what that windfall will do to your sustaining business and to be sustainable. Because in many instances, it's going to allow you to recruit and interview more people, more than you identify in your RFP. It's going to allow you to be less hands-on in your business if it's big enough for you to do other things while this contract is in operations for you. You have to think about the change it's going to have on your business in a good way, but it's also going to provide maybe some undue hardship. Ones that I've seen is they've gone from a small company, maybe 10 or 15 people, to a size of 150 people because of this benefit, and they're so grateful. And the owners have said, boy, I liked it better when it was just me and 10 people, because I didn't have like more money, more problems, right? That's a quote. And they've been in that position, and they haven't had second thoughts. Because I haven't talked to anyone who said, I wish I hadn't had it. They realized that they should have prepared the business for this windfall. So, in giving you some more time, I'm gonna just give you some other ways, other forms of procurement. I'm gonna leave this up because I want that to marinate with you. But other forms of procurement are a purchase order, a purchase agreement, a service level agreement, a master service agreement, and again, a quote, and something that's called an information for bid. And an information for bid is a procurement method to solicit competitive bids. And also there are other names for what we're doing. Excuse me, I'm just a little tickled. And it's bidding. And it's soliciting information. It's all of these kinds of things that you can do to make sure that to make sure that you're competitive, that you're ready, and that you know that you can do the job. You're ready to complete all these forms, first of all. And believe me, if you start 2 or 3 days before it's due, then something else is gonna fall through the cracks. So as soon as you get it, as soon as you get your RFP, you start working on it. Timeline the work that you're gonna do on the RFP. And I really want, and if you've attended some of our other procurement and certification webinars, I really want you to think about what you've learned. What has been like the salient points that have allowed you to make the decision to take the next step. And once you really look at that, do it. You can't, I mean, if your goal is to get it and only get it, then you may be misleading yourself. But it will only benefit you to participate in the opportunity. What is that benefit? It will allow you to get everything together, all your documents together. And I think that's important. I think that's very important. So I want to thank you for sharing this time with me. And I'm going to stop sharing. And I'm open for questions. Uzma, let me see if I can look to the.
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah. Thank you so
Apologies.
much, Uzma. I want to
Of
thank you
course.
for always just being you and such a professional.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So this does conclude our presentation, but if you are sticking around for the Q&A, if you have time, of course, please do. If not, then you can view our recording. Let me just quickly share our slides right here. Okay. So yes, we do have questions. Let's get to them. All right. So I'll go in the order that we received the questions from. And
Sure.
Cynthia asked, where can we find sample proposals or past winning proposals? Is that public information?
Yes, and you can go to the agency that you're interested in working with, and I'm very positive about that. And you can ask them. There's usually a site. There's a site on their webpage that will allow you to do that as well. And don't forget, for a lot of the questions the specific questions that you have, you can ask them in their in their search engine, and they will provide that information with you, to you rather.
Got it. So you can find those online and with the agencies. We did have that question of like cover letters too, so I'm assuming those can also be found at the websites and the agency.
Yeah, but I think for a cover letter, an introduction, and those kinds of documents, they often sometimes seem personal. So a good introduction letter that they're looking for is the same kind of introduction letter that you would send to my business. If you wanted me to work with you, you would introduce yourself. You would speak about what the service that you offer and how you know it will help me improve my own business. It's that kind of offer letter or introduction that you have. And the main difference is that you include what they're looking for in your introductory letter, that you can provide this service.
Got it. Let me just take a step back here, Jinni, and ask you. So obviously, as part of being an NJSBDC consultant, right, there are certain rules and things that we have to follow as consultants.
Mhm.
But when you're specifically, you're consulting our clients that come to you for procurement
Yes.
counseling, right? what exactly is it that you can help with? What is it that, and this isn't a question that was asked, but I just want to clarify it for our
Sure,
audience.
sure. Most clients that come in will have something in mind. If they've just received their certification, they want to know how to use it.
Right.
So I will give them information, especially if they're New Jersey businesses. I will give them information on sites that I think they need to register with. I will give them information based on their services on state departments that I think that they should upload their certification, right, to that department so the department knows they're there, and find out who the bidder is for that particular service. That's when the procurement starts, because then it's incumbent upon you to follow them, to send them an email, to find out if you could have a meeting with them. The procurement is the purchasing of goods and service. So you've got to know what they're letting for you to be able to say, I can offer it. And that's not only because I do the consultations, not only for government agencies, but also for the private sector who are looking for businesses, small businesses, or businesses with a specific specialty. What you want to do is let them know that you exist. So for New Jersey, I think njstart.gov is like, and people rag on it, but I think that it's one of the best places to start. Because even though you may not see what you're looking for right away, you're in their database. They send out notices, and they want people from the state to participate. I also think that that 8A, and I'm going to bring it up. 8A is one of the major consultations that I'm giving right now because of the flux that it's in. It still exists. They're not taking applications, at least the last time I checked. And that's another reason why, guys, you want to stay on top of your whether it's your small business development center consultant or someone at your local small business development center, to find out what the status is, because we give that information for free. But I'm getting questions about 8A and what am I supposed to do? Should I apply? I want to make sure that I'm always on top of it, and my team, I have a team that's working with me on it. And 8A isn't dead. It's just trying to figure out, in my way, how they're gonna satisfy the new requirements and make sure that they continue to get the population that they initially served without coming out and asking them for it. And this dovetails off. I'm sorry, I just wanted to say one more thing. This dovetails off of the letter of introduction. Because if my memory serves me correctly, and I try to stay on top of this, with 8A, you are giving a summary, an example of yourself and why you have a need because of act of discrimination. Not the assumption that because you fit into a certain category, you've been discriminated against. I'm just trying to make it more succinct for you. So with 8A, you write about how, as a person of color, or as a woman, or as someone disabled, or a veteran, you believe that that was the cause of you not getting something. You believe that. So you've got to break it down for 8A. For other agencies, and I'm not going to give any of my commercials on this, but what you represent is in the content of the application. So you don't have to say who or what you are. So I just wanted to share that with all those 8A, people out there. I don't want to get hung up on that, but it's important because it's a hot issue. And there are clients out there wondering, will I have, if I get a chance? And for those of you who may not be familiar with 8A, it is like the supreme procurement opportunity that you want because it lasts 8 years. And so, and they give you, and the government gives you assistance. It provides you with opportunities. I mean, it's just where you want, where some companies want to be. Everybody doesn't want to need it. But I think you should look at all the procurement opportunities as that agency, company, private sector wanting to work with you. Because then that changes the tense of how you speak about your business. I'm sorry, I go on.
Right.
I go
No,
on too long,
it's
but
okay. It's okay.
I think that's a way to look at it.
Yeah, it's valuable information, so no worries there. Okay, so those interested, going off of that, those interested in receiving consulting from Jinni, our rock star, we have our njsbdc.com website. So that's where you go, and there will be a big red button that you click on to request counseling. And
Right.
what you do is, if you're from New Jersey, then, so again, to clarify, I'm sorry, but to clarify, consulting is for New Jersey residents or New Jersey small business owners only. You can attend our webinars no matter where you're from. You're from Europe, Asia, North America, wherever. You can attend our webinars. They're open for public. But for counseling, that has to be for the state of New Jersey. That is reserved and legal just to the residents or small business owners of New Jersey. That's that. But so when you go to request counseling, you put in your email, you put in the county that you're from in New Jersey, and then when you go out to register, there will be more information asked of you. That's where you go and you say, I am requesting counseling from Jinni Rock-Bailey, whose webinar I attended. It was this on that date, whatever you want to put, but make sure that you're asking for Jinni. And that's how you'll be connected. If it's for anything else besides procurement webinar, or you want to speak to someone else for like marketing or finance or QuickBooks or whatever it is, then of course you're gonna have to mention that you want to speak to Jinni. All right, so that was my tangent. And okay, going back to questions, James asks, where do we find lists of RFP?
Through the agencies where you want to see, this is it. This is the opportune time for you to plan what agency you want to do business with. And once you do that, you can go to that agency online and ask for this information because it's posted. But it's a plan. If you're like today, Department of Transportation, tomorrow, Homeland Security, you've got to be very strategic. One reason is because they're asking for you to submit the information in a different way. And next, you want to plan how you're going to get these things done, but you also want to make sure that they want what you have. So you go to those agencies. And another thing I want to share with you is that as you want to participate in this space, focus in on your participation, not what's happening all over in Mars. Focus on land, because the government is the major employer. Our government is the major employer with the major opportunities. So you want to do business with the government, US government? It's still alive, it's still open. I don't hear anything about the government's closing. Let me put it out there. But it's still open and still seeking opportunities, still robust. I don't hear anything about contracts being canceled. And also, I'm not looking at the questions because I'm really not good at looking at answering them. But I ask you, and I share with you, that think about how you can use your services in a variety of different areas. I use an example of a food truck. Because I have a client that owns a food truck, and I say, well, my goodness, it's great that you have 3,000 hits on Google My Biz because it's down the shore in New Jersey and people want to know where to get a Jersey Shore hot dog, et cetera, et cetera. But what about you think about food insecurity areas? Why don't we put together a package to submit? We decide who we want to submit it to address this issue of food insecurity, whether it's in schools or whether it's in a community. And I'm asking you to think about how you can how you can provide the service in a variety of ways. That's why when I talk about solutions, you're looking at solutions across the board, not just in the area that you've done well with. You're looking at stepping out into an arena that you've thought about and maybe could use your assistance. So I'm going to go back one. When you think about requests for information, there's everything right with also sending some information about your company to a government agency that you'd like to work with, where you think what they have is not what you have to offer is novel, because they're always looking for new things as well. So I guess I should share. If you're going to be my client, you're going to have to say, Jen, slow down. because I just know it's out there and I want to share it. Sorry, Usman.
You don't have to apologize. I don't think our attendees mind, honestly. Um, all right. So, okay. So it seems like there are questions on even like how to even find those agencies. So, you mentioned like how do I find the RFPs? And you said you can find them at the agency websites. So for those who are interested, so there is, for example, a question, how do I find out about these opportunities that are in line with my business? So where is there a website that compiles a list of agencies that you can just like, and they tell you like, oh, this is for like DOT or whatever?
Well, I mean, you think about you think about so I'm going to go out. You think about how this country is run. We have transportation. We've got Homeland Security to keep us safe. We have education. We have, all of these different services that we need to make sure that we as individuals are sustainable.
Yep.
That's how you look for the agencies. You look for, I mean, I can just give you a few: Department of Transportation, Port Authority in New York and New Jersey. You look for Homeland Security, look for the Postal Service, you look for, it goes on and on. You just look for transportation. Also, if you went to a site like the Small Business Administration, how they do business, with who they do business, because you've got to be clear with your questions. The whole list of opportunities will come up. And we all depend on Google, anywhere from, I'm like looking at it for how to cook porridge, you know what I mean? So I can do that. I can ask for, how do I do business? These are good questions. How do I do business with Homeland Security? You can ask Google that. Think about, Homeland Security needs more than agents. They feed people. They're all over the country. They're transporting things, right? And another thing too is, on the road to success, you have to think about you being bigger than what you are at a given time. You have to think about being bigger to provide that service, because that's when it'll spark more opportunities for you. It'll spark the interest for you. And so this is just not for New Jersey, wherever you are, if you look at the departments in your state, that's a start. Look at all of the departments that your state needs to operate. Then you do a deep dive. You click on a department and you see they need custodial help, or custodial or janitorial, they need IT, they need all of these things. And then you decide that I would like to get involved in good one, translations. Universities need translations. Private sector needs the translations of language.
Yep.
And so but you have to think a little bigger. You have to go out of your comfort zone and that's a positive thing, to see how you can share the goodness of what you have to offer to the world. And so then once you get on a site, like I ask my clients to pick 5 counties in the state of New Jersey based on good criteria. And then you go to that county, and it's not the same way that you get this information, like the RFPs, RFQs, and RFIs. They all have different operating procedures, but you ask in their search engine, how do you work with small businesses? How do you work with minority-owned businesses, women-owned businesses? How do you work with them? How can I work with you? And you'll get a drop-down menu that will say, upload your certificate, or I need more information, complete our form, because everything has a form that you've got to complete for them. So you complete it, but it gets you started and it gets you noticed. So that's just, I told you I go on, but that's a way for you to find out who's looking for you.
Got it. Thank you, Jinni, for that. Kevin, thank you for that question. All right, another question from Kevin. Do we reach out for the RFPs, or do clients contact us for the RFPs?
Well, they're let. You go to their site and see what RFPs they're letting for. And the RFPs are for things that they need. So they're putting that request for a proposal out there because they need it. So you go to that agency, search for RFPs. And I mean, I am a proponent for this. Before you go to a .com to purchase this, go to the government agency and get it for free. Because there are a number of .coms out there, and you've got to be careful because they're asking for your EIN number, which they don't need. So go to the government agencies and ask them, and ask through the search engine about RFPs. Because if I can't give you one, because there are many ways based on the agency. That's why I hesitate to go out on a limb. But I know if you go into their search engine, they will do it. They will get it for you. You'll find it.
Good point. Follow-up question is, and I know, Jinni, I feel like you're gonna laugh when you get this, but
Okay, so I start now.
I think this is always used interchangeably. How do certifications tie into all of this? There's always confusion with this, right? There's always confusion.
So let me just tell you, just give you a little commercial about certifications. Certifications not only open the door for you, but they can put you closer to the top of the list.
Yep.
Depending on what you're looking for. SBE, Small Business Enterprise Registrations, and all states don't have them. We do have set-aside program. A certain percentage of that bid is going to go to a certain group. And companies, especially in the private sector, not just the private sector, but I'm going to use them as an example, is they understand that when you're certified, you've been vetted by your state or an agency. So they don't have to do a lot of that legwork. They can go right to the meat and potatoes of why they want to talk to you more about what you have to offer and if you'll fit in because of what you have to offer. Now, I said all that. I know people who haven't been certified and who have done quite well. That's on them. But I know more people who have been certified and it's changed their lives. Some people don't want to give up the tax information. They don't want to do all that, which we ask for. And the state of New Jersey, it's a little different because you're on a provisional basis initially. I'm going to give a little plug for our certification because I do those too. So for 1 year, you don't have to give up all your information. And that's a year for you to take advantage of being certified. And so that's why I am a proponent of it. And I also applaud people who don't have it because it takes time. I didn't laugh real hard as me.
Well, yeah, it's okay. Maybe next time.
Maybe not.
Um, okay. Question from Carol. So, okay, just a reminder though, we're reaching 1:18 p.m. I know this is only until 1:30. So let's take a couple of questions and then we can do our outro. Okay, so Carol asked, should you include previous agencies you worked with in a cover letter?
No. Well, let me just think about that. I wouldn't list the agency, I'd list the service.
Mm,
I mean, I wouldn't list the agency. I wouldn't give
yeah.
out mine because, you're listing it because you think it's great. If someone does a check, background check on it, or someone knows and they say, well, they weren't all that great. You don't want to put yourself out there, but you always want to list your experiences, your vast experiences, and in providing this. And so, I can't think of one who's asked for who else have you worked for, because it's not a job.
Hmm.
It's bigger than a job. So I would just indicate the vast experience. And I'd use that, my vast experience.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to the next question. What are the best portals to use for procurement in NNJ? I think you sort of answered this, but maybe don't mind repeating.
For procurement,
Best portals to use for procurement in New
sure.
Jersey.
So I think about your state government, your municipal government,
Hmm.
and your county government. And I'll give Newark as an example. I certify businesses with a New Jersey state certification. I recommend them to Essex County, who's just focusing in on that one county and all the opportunities they have there. Then I say, go on over to Newark because you register with Newark and Newark accepts everyone. But like most cities, they're really focusing on making sure that those businesses that are in their city get business. So you have those opportunities. I would also think about anywhere, not just New Jersey, but I'm going to give New Jersey as an example. Think about the anchor institutions in a city. I'm going to use Newark again. Rutgers has a robust procurement program. Robert Wood Johnson and other hospitals. And then think about your university and colleges. They're looking for businesses to the extent that they're developing their own business. Not just a business school, but parts of their business school that are seeking companies. So if you look at it that way, and again, if you look at businesses and opportunities, development, construction, if you have, my mind is racing right now because I know what it's done. If you're an interior decorator and you see that a building is coming up, a hotel, an apartment building, you know that first floor is going to need an interior decorator. You know that they're going to have an apartment, a hotel room, they're going to have something on the upper floor that they've decorated so you want to go stay there. you want to make sure that you're a part of it or that they know you exist. So if you look at that as an example and take it throughout other opportunities, then you learn more and you put your business in a position to have opportunities. To say, we were on their wet vendor list. Yeah, I didn't have a chance to read all the question. One popped up about Rutgers. Now listen, COVID's gonna be with us for a while. And so this is my, not just for Rutgers, but this is my suggestion for everyone. If you're having a hard opportunity reaching the procurement department, look for a procurement agent in the department. Write the department chair or the business chair that's responsible for procurement. It happens all the time. It happens all the time. How bad do you want it? You know, make sure that you attend their business fairs. If you're looking at Rutgers, we have a SBDC down in, we have an SBDC down in the Camden
All
area, I
all
think.
three. Yep.
Yeah.
New Brunswick,
So,
Camden, Newark.
so reach out to your small business development center.
Yep. Jenny, I have to say, you're dropping some real gems. You said
I'm hot
earlier,
today, right?
you're totally hot today. You said earlier, and I was like, whoa, that reminded me of another quote. You said, think bigger than where you are right now. I
Yeah,
like that perspective.
yeah.
And yeah, think bigger. Okay, last question,
Okay.
and I'm sorry, last two, but we'll go through them fast.
Okay.
Where do I go to find businesses that would be looking for my specific services, such as public speaking, excuse me, presentation training, and coaching?
So, for public speaking, I I don't know where that person is. Um, maybe they wanna reach out to me. Okay, because I have a whole different way of recommending in that kind of a space. You definitely want to have a capability statement, but when you talk about public speaking, on any topic, and if you have a specific topic, you go to where they need that topic. If you're talking about representing a business, you understand where I'm coming from, you go to that. So I have a whole nother way of making recommendations when it comes to a business like public speaking. And they have public speaking forums where you're trained for public speaking, and then they send you out to these companies. Remember, people who do ads on television, I mean, like I say, I'm not a lawyer and I don't play one on TV, but I could definitely do public speaking for a legal entity. You go to, do those kinds of things. I'm like so glad that, not that this is over, Usman, but that I have a sense that we're really allowing these participants to move their revenue generation
Yes,
needle. And
yep.
that's what we're here for.
That's what
That's
we're here for. We're
that's what we're
game.
doing.
Yep,
We are down for you doing so much better.
exactly.
Yeah,
And Ginny, I think we're creating a thing now. So I think I said Ginny's gems, and I was like, wait, we should totally make that a thing. Ginny's gems. You go on and you give your like quotes, like hot takes from Ginny. Oh man. All right.
thanks everybody. Thank you everybody.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So last question, also from Kevin. If there are no specific RFPs relevant to my business, can I contact the person in charge just to get them my business info and let them know what we do?
Absolutely. Today. Like do it
Do
today.
that today.
Do that today. Because I mean, people are going on holiday mode, but they're still checking their systems to see what came in. Remember that. Remember, they're still checking.
Exactly. All right. So with that, we conclude our um, presentation, our Q&A.
Right.
And And Jinni, as always, was hot today, but so was our audience.
Yes,
Honestly, thank you so
sizzling.
much for participating and for, keeping us on our toes. Seriously, that's good. That's always good.
Look,
Yeah, and one last question that just came in. Ramchandra just asked, where do I find RFPs for IT information technology? Jinni has answered that you can go to agencies and their websites, and that's where you can find specific niche
right,
um, RFPs.
yeah. I
All
think
right.
you could take a baby step on that. Not a baby
Mm-hmm.
step, but a primary step, just so you get the hang of it. Go to a university, go to a college and university and ask them and look at what kind of services that they're looking for. Because
Yeah,
they're always looking for IT.
exactly. Let me just quickly show everyone what we talk about. So Jinni, I'll just take 2 minutes of your time
No
while
problem.
we end this. So, like I was mentioning, the red button, this is it. So you go to njsbdc.com, simple as that, and plug in, shameless plugin. This pop-up is gonna come up on your screen, and I highly, highly recommend that you put in your email, you put in your first name, and you join our newsletter. Because guess what? Guess what comes up on our newsletters? Our events, our updates, like the news headlines that we shared, any in-person things that we as a state are doing or our partners are doing, any chambers of commerce, things like that. So again, hot takes there too. Um, Going back to this, put in your email, county, request counseling. I'm not going to do that right now, but it's going to take you to another page, and that's where you begin your registration process. Again, very quickly, you go to that. This will take you to our video library, and you can view all the upcoming events there. But this is the library that I was talking about. So just like this recording, it will be available here on 1 to 2 business days. We have tons and tons of webinars here. So for example, we have one with Jinni over here, effective staff management. There's more. There's for R&D and how to make a business plan and how to do this and how to do veteran-owned small business and tax season tips, things like that, marketing tips. These are our these are all virtual and something that we do here at the state office. However, for our network, you can go to this page over here, statewide events, and this will tell you everything that we're doing in the state of New Jersey. So whether it's in South Jersey, North Jersey, Central Jersey, wherever it is, everything's listed here. Whether it's online or whether it's in person, whether it's free or whether if it's in Spanish or if it is in or if you have to pay a certain dollar amount. By the way, just an FYI also, we do counsel in Spanish. So we have Spanish consultants. We also have events in Spanish. All you have to do is just request it. So once you register, for example, and you request counseling, you can also ask for assistance in Spanish. All right, let me just go back to this. So for the next 2 weeks, she mentioned earlier, we're all going on holiday mode, right? So we're not going to have live webinars. But if
Yes.
you're still missing us and you're like, man, I really just want some gems from like, NJSBDC, then we're going to have replays. So it's not going to be live, just a disclaimer. They're a replay. So Ryan Silvestri, one of our capital team consultants, he has done this webinar before. If you missed it, then you can definitely attend this. No problem. All right. So now this is where our outro happens. And first, thank you, Jinni, as always. It's always fun having you as our speaker. Not only fun, but very educational, very informational. So thank you so much for that. NJSBC Network, we've helped 15,000 plus small businesses in New Jersey grow, and thrive. No cost small business consulting, training and events starting at $0, exclusive small business resources. All you have to do is, use your resources that are available on njsbdc.com, use our consultants as resources. It's free counseling at no cost. And just like Jinni was on fire today and had very hot takes, I will leave you because I thought of this when she said this, and I recently saw a video on this. And the question was, how big would you dream if you knew you couldn't fail?
Oh,
That's something, right?
that's
How
good.
big would you
That's
dream if
good.
you
That's very
knew you
good.
couldn't fail? So
Yeah,
I'll
that's
leave you with
good.
that, right? I'll leave you with that. Think about that
Yeah.
and continue to prosper. I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday season, whatever you may be celebrating, and have fun. We'll see you live in January in the new year. I'll see you
Okay.
next year.
Take care, everyone.
Take
See you
care.
guys.
Bye bye. Bye,
Bye.
Jenny. Happy
Bye-bye.
holidays.
You too.